totally dedicated to the Western New York music scene, presented by the Music Exchange in Hamburg. Get ready for a great hour of interviews, music, and tips from Western New York's leading musicians, with many other very special guests from around the country. To join the discussion, call 803-1520. And now...
Hi everyone, welcome down to Heard It on the Axe, Buffalo's only show dedicated to local musicians. I want to start out by saying Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there, especially to my mom Edith, who's out in Evans and listening to me, I hope. I'd like to introduce a very special guest that I have today. Mick's out of town, Buffalo music living legend, Mr. Dick Bauerley. Hi, Dick.
Rich, it's great to be here, and of course I was here last week watching the show, so this time I get to be in here with you, and it's going to be great.
And Dick was very instrumental in getting the show on the air, getting us all together, and he's always helping us out. Like I said, Happy Mother's Day to everyone. I have to talk about the weekend that I had. The weekend was absolutely fantastic. We had Gary Hoey in store at the Music Exchange. Took him out Friday night, to see Widowmaker at Strikers. He sat in and played. He signed autographs for 45 minutes, maybe an hour. Stayed all night. Him and Michael Hund are exactly alike, as a matter of fact.
And you had two of them at the same time.
Two of them, and they're actually talking about doing a project together and doing a tour together, which would be dangerous.
Well, again, and you know, real quick, that's the story behind the story of what we're trying to accomplish with the radio show, because you bring Gary in, he gets to meet a guy like Michael, they strike up a relationship, and it opens doors. And that's really what we're trying to do with the show is, you know, you're dedicated to opening doors for Western New York musicians whose doors otherwise might be difficult to have open.
Absolutely, and raising the awareness of the level of talent. And he was floored. Doug Yeomans was there. Doug Yeomans was at Strikers. It was unbelievable. Joe Saplicki was there. It was a really unbelievable night of just people sitting in and basically crashing Widowmaker's gig.
I wish somebody would have crashed my gig on Saturday night, but...
You know what? I got Chris Cannell coming in Tuesday. Where are you playing Tuesday?
Well, we're not. I may be playing with you guys on Tuesday.
Then Saturday night, I was the guest. My son and myself were guests of Raging Wolf, a native-owned company. Has a beautiful stage. They do MMA fights at the casino, which I've never been to a live MMA fight, but wow, talk about an intense thing and a production that they put on. Not music, but entertainment, all, you know, still unbelievable entertainment value. And this, if you haven't seen one, go and see this. It's really unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, I've seen it on Showtime. I mean, it is. I mean, as someone who, in my distant radio past, used to cover our local hockey team, I am marveled at the athleticism and the aggressiveness of those fighters. I mean, my God. You know,
and I'm actually not that. I'm not into like violent stuff, but I do find myself when I'm sitting there doing, yeah, you know. I mean, it was just an unbelievable event, and they do such a great job. And once again, it's native owned. J.C. Seneca, who owns Native Pride, puts the events on. He owns Raging Wolf, and they have a staging company. They really an amazing thing. So it was a great weekend. Also, this weekend, Michael Hund, who's a good friend of mine and helped us out with the Hoey thing, he is the new clinician for Bolt amps, which are exclusively carried at the Music Exchange.
Great, so you've got another exclusive along with the Bedell guitars.
Exactly, yeah.
Bolt, that's great.
Bolt Amplifications, it was the guy Johnson who owned DOD and Digitech, started those companies, came up with an unbelievable tube platform amp that has a DSP chip which controls the tube saturation, keeps the tubes hot at any level, which you know, being a guitar player. All of us have been looking for that for years. Something that'll keep gain at a low volume. We did a video of Michael at one of his performances. He did a little demo for us, sent it into him, and they signed him up. So congratulations to Michael.
Oh, that's great.
You're endorsed by Fuchs Amplification.
Yeah, I do some stuff with them. I actually, and of course you have their line of pedals in the store, which maybe we'll have a chance to talk about a little bit later. Currently I'm playing a Fuchs Overdrive Supreme amp, which is just, you know, again, amplify. Every guitar player will tell you, and Mick was alluding to this last week, we've all had a million amps as we've been coming up through the thing, and sometimes it just takes a while to find the one that is exactly the one that is your muse, you know, and it took me a while to find it. It also, more so, took me a while to raise the funds to be able to afford it, because as you know, boutique amplifiers are, you know, they're
a bit pricey.
Yeah, they can be a bit pricey, but I mean, this is the you know, this is the Ferrari, this is the Rolls Royce, this is the Bentley. At least for the way I play, and every time I plug, I've had it for over a year and a half now. Every time I plug in, Rich, it's still just a great thrill.
You worked with those guys. I talked to them. You worked with them closely on getting your amp tweaked just the way you wanted it tweaked.
That's exactly right. What's nice about a boutique amp is that they're very, very flexible sonically, and they can actually be modified to suit the touch and the taste of the player. So I had my amp for about, I think it was about 8 or 9 months. You know, just getting acquainted, you know, and then once I got acquainted with it, and I would go back to Andy's website, and I would hear other players and what they were doing with the amplifier, and I simply called up Andy, who, by the way, is extremely accessible and customer friendly. I was able to call up Andy and say, hey, Andy, there's a few things I'd like you to do for me, a few sound changes I'd like to make. He said, no problem. So I sent the amp back around Christmas time. He did all the changes for me. Also, as coincidence would have it, I did need one little minor repair too, which is actually what began this whole process. And he tweaked
UPS caused that, though. Wasn't the amp?
No. It was just a tube that decided it was going to say goodbye. But I didn't know, and I didn't want to be poking around in there because that's not me, you know. But in any event, he followed all of my wishes to a T. So when the amp came back, I mean, even to this day, it just sounds. You know, again, for me, wouldn't work for maybe Gary Hoey, or might not even work for Mick, although I kind of think Mick would rather like it.
Yeah, I think Mick would too. I think he would. What else have you been up to, my friend? There's so many things I want to talk to you about. I have a connection to you. I actually took your recording class that you offered at Select Sound a while ago. You had just released your second album. You weren't in a lot. I Want My Money Back. Because that was a very popular album, and it did very well overseas. So tell me what else you've been up to with Joyride, with everything that you're doing.
Really right now, in a nutshell, I've been doing a lot of some studio stuff. I produced my nephew's CD, the band called Within Days, and we're one song away from having that completed. Really, really good stuff. It's like pop rock of today's era. Great songs, great performances. So I'm doing that. Also, obviously, I have Joyride, which is my passion, you know, I love those guys. It's been 15 years now that we've been together.
Wow.
And last week when Mark Valentino was on, he was saying how he's going into the Lawn Fate tour schedule.
Exactly, the beer tent schedule.
Yeah, the beer tent. Well, we have our wedding schedule that has begun, so we'll be pretty busy all summer. But we will be available at some public events, like at the Canal in Tonawanda, which is always fun, at Gateway Park, and then several other open events, you know, throughout the summer. Shanghai Reds will be there, Frog Hairs will be there. So, but you know, Joyride is so much fun because I think I have attention deficit disorder when it comes to music. If I play the same thing or too much of the same thing, I lose interest, and we're all kind of like that. So we love the fact that we can do jazz, or we can do a soul tune, or we can do, we even play, should I admit this with 50,000 watts, we even put together a Lady Gaga medley recently,
Really?
Which actually goes over really well. And you know, don't laugh, but those songs, I mean, given that when they play them live, they're playing to tracks, well, we're playing the part. So it took us a little while to kind of dive in, do a little bit of musical archaeology, try to figure out, okay, who's going to play what? And I'm sitting there as a guitar player going, well, what synthesizer part can I best mock on the guitar, you know?
Yeah, it's great.
But that's what's fun. I mean, everything is different. It keeps it really, really
Stellar
exciting.
players in the band, too. Stellar. Who else is in the group?
We've got Mike Lackey on keyboards. He's one of the founders of the band. John Chimay is the lead vocalist. We have Al Hurry on drums, Dennis Perry on bass, and of course, most of our jobs, we have the Hitman horns with us as well.
Unbelievable list of players.
We don't let them play on Lady Gaga, though. We want to hog all the glory ourselves. Actually, there's no horns on those songs.
Dick, you've worn so many hats and you've done so many things, and I have a crack team of research people that work for me. It's
Oh my God.
The staff of research people that work for me. You've released a couple albums, one on MCA, one on Atlanta, correct?
Correct.
You've worked with local heavies, you know, the ones that are in Joyride. You've worked with Eli Konikoff and the Reinhardt brothers. You've played with Steve Gadd, and you've played with Paul Schaffer.
Yeah, in the studio, though.
Unbelievable. I mean, tell me about that.
Well, it was fun. That whole thing, you know. I should mention also I'm doing a project with PJ Lorenzo. They're doing an
PJ's going to be on.
I know he is. I wanted to set that up. I forgot all about that. I should mention, because we're just at the very beginning stages of overdubs. But these guys have great 80s songs, pop, and they are adventurous as they come. So that's a good fit because all of us have attention deficit disorder. So we're going to be doing all kinds of really cool stuff on PJ's album, and hopefully we'll have some stuff to play by the time PJ comes on.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.